Hey my Shuga Bears, welcome back to my channel, Bougie AF. It's your host, ALLEGEDY. It's where I say stay bougie on them. It's me feeding you feminism for the soul. It's my soul food offering. It's where I apply pressure to issues by being critical and logical. Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get to the commentary where I can guarantee you I will be doing too much because that's just me. And like Sheree said, who's gonna check me, boo? Welcome black y'all, you are tuned in to the Bougie AF channel. It's your girl ALLEGEDY, where I say stay bougie on them, and I'm serving you feminism for the soul. Check me out on them people's Instagram at BougieAF_ish. You can also check me out on Twitter at I'm_bougie AF. So listen, let's get into it. Y'all know I be down there in people's clubhouse. I call that the hood, where I can sit and listen to people get into and talk about different things that are affecting the black community. And that's the most important thing, because I like to give you like a social, give you my perspective on social issues and kind of bring to you a lot of like what I'm hearing in terms of like conversations that I've heard over the years with my family, and also conversations that I'm actually hearing with people on Clubhouse, which represent so many different parts of our community. In terms of like, there's West Indian people, there's African people, there's people from, when it comes to black Americans, there's not just one type of black American. We're just from so many different areas in the country. It just shows up differently, right? Like there is the black American that is from Louisiana. That's way different than the black Americans that you're going to find in Ohio, right? Versus the black Americans that you're going to find in California, versus the black Americans you're going to find in Miami, versus the black Americans you're going to find in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. And they all have their own cultures. They all have their own everything, like literally, like the music, how they dress, how we talk, all of it. So there's like a culture within a culture that goes on between the black community. And so Clubhouse has been really dope because you get to hear all that come together and find out things that either that we're all agreeing on, that we commonly share because of our blackness, and what we agree in terms of like, what's been happening to us in this country in terms of like white supremacy, systemic racism, and just what those experiences are and what checks out across the board. And a lot of times when it comes to those issues, they check out across the board. So we have a lot of shared experiences that we can talk about and say, yep, you're right. My family believes that too. And I think, a lot of times, what I find with people you're talking about who went to school and are very heavily based in statistics and reading books and stuff like that. A lot of what we feel and think as black Americans in current day society is not put out there, right? I think even when I think about like immigration, I think it was actually believed that black Americans actually support things like DACA, or they are okay with just letting all these illegal immigrants come in and just giving them pathway to citizenships. And I haven't ran across one black American who thinks this, right? I may have ran across mixed people in terms of like maybe their families are African, or they're mixed with they're black American and they're mixed. Maybe I've ran across some of them. But I think what ends up happening is that you have to explain to them, even if we're talking about like having a strong stance against immigration, even that's even filled with racism in terms of people who are for immigration, or, or giving people pathways to citizenships, right? So, for example, I'm sitting in a room in Clubhouse and there's this white woman. I have no problems with her. I think she's really great. I mean, like, in terms of, do I agree with her? No. But I don't have to agree with people all the time, and I'm still able to say that they're okay. Like I don't have a hate, or there's no beef, right? So I'm sitting in this room, and there was this woman, and she was talking about illegal immigrants and how sad and heartbreaking. The room was actually based on like immigration, but they were only really kind of talking about the illegal immigration that's happening in terms of people coming in from Mexico, from South America, into the United States. And from what I could gather and pick up from the conversation was that the individuals who were modding the room may have had family or just have close relationships with people who may be migrated from South America into the United States. And so the way her disposition on how she looked at it is, so these people are trying to escape atrocities and killings and gangs in South America, and they just want to come to America to better themselves, and for opportunity and stuff like that. And across the board, when most people immigrate here, those are the reasons, right? They're either running from something that is really horrible, really trying to better themselves, and they just want more for themselves, right? That's just across the board. But what I do find is interesting, equally, what's happening in countries like Haiti, in countries that are of darker, minorities of darker pigmentation, there's not that same level of compassion, empathy, and all the other stuff people like to talk about when they're talking about, when they're talking about illegal immigrants coming in from Mexico and in cages, and people dying and crossing rivers and all that other stuff, and just young children dying, trying to make it their way here. And I can turn around and just be like, oh, do you know what's happening in Haiti right now? Like the country's being overran with gangs, right? Like I literally had to sit and watch a YouTube video of this guy talk about having to hide in the closet while his mother and his sister got raped by gang people, right? Or I then had to hear a story, and shout out to Pink, I think Panther, I'm really not sure. But there was this woman on Clubhouse, and she had a room, and she was talking about Haiti, and how these gang members, the town or the little area heard that the gang was coming, and so they all barricaded themselves in their house. So when the gang came, the way to get them out of the house is that they would drop like Molotov cocktails down the fireplace or something to set the house on fire, and so people would have to run out, and then they gang raped a 6-year-old, right? So I have to, though, I bring and I tell you those stories to say, when you hear people have such compassion and empathy, and understanding for certain immigrants over the others, yeah, they have a bias, and they also have, maybe it's not racism. I'm not going to say like it's racism, but it's most definitely a bias. And most definitely this compassion and empathy and all, it's not across the board. So I can't tell somebody who may be here or mixed, that I can support illegal immigration and, citizenship for illegal immigrants when I know they're not talking about black people, right? Like, and I'm not going to get distracted with, oh my God, do the right thing, because it's do the right thing for who they want, right? So it's just very important to pay attention to that. I think, the biggest, you have to remember what Donald Trump said. Like, we don't want nobody from some shithole countries. Like, that's I'm loosely quoting him, but he was most definitely being honest about that, right? They're very selective about who they do want to come here in terms of like, even if it's like white immigrants from countries, or even Asian immigrants, or even Indian immigrants, or anybody who could be beneficial to the overall machine that is America, right? And so, immigrants coming from South America also serve in that will, to serve America, and it's forwarding its capitalism, right? Like, there's no way you can't look at it as though black Americans helped build this country in terms of what our free labor, right? And then secondly, after the free labor came the exploitive labor that we provided within this country that's also supported it, right? I mean, if you look at the wage and how much people get paid, it didn't rise at the rate that it should have been, as the country started doing better, right? So you can also contribute that to being some free labor, right? Because we weren't really kind of getting paid what was due overall, but we've always worked those bottom jobs. With that being said, in 2023, you have a lot more Americans and black Americans just feeling as if though, we want more opportunity. And it seems as though the American government is saying, we ain't got time to catch y'all up in terms of our education and the wage gap. And we don't have time to catch you up. We could just go and bring in some other people in to replace you. And that's what it sounds like and it feels like in terms of like what's happening at the border. I know a lot of people want to be all fancy and talk about, we need workers and all this other stuff. But you can't tell the people who's barely worked for nothing to feel sympathetic for you needing more free exploitive labor. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's just my opinion on that. And it's not a hateful message. I have nothing hateful to say about any group of people. Yeah, I got my stereotypes and some things I think about groups of people. But when I'm talking about this, I'm consistent across the board with not being and supporting illegal immigration, because I just think it's just another tool to exploit another class of people. Period. Point blank. So back to other stuff that I was listening on Clubhouse. So one night I'm in this room. I'm talking about exploiting. Social media is a dangerous place, and if you're not aware and have some type of discernment about yourself, it's very easy to get caught up into the drama of social media. And I think for me, I had YouTube. I'm sorry. I had Facebook, and I had a group that was based in my state of Boston, Massachusetts. And for me, this group, and it was like a few groups, like 3 or 4 or 5 groups going on at the same time. And everybody in these groups had beef with people in the city. And it was like these groups were like chat room groups were the place everybody in the city was coming to find the people that they hate. And I mean, this literally led to real life shit happen. Like, I've never seen anybody get shot in real life, but I most definitely have seen someone get shot on live, right? In these groups because of beef happening within the groups, in the chat rooms. That being said, you take that experience and you learn from it, right? Because I mean, when I tell you, they even, like, in my own city, because it's fucking forever, but they even, had me up there, exposed me, pictures I have problems with in real fucking life, who ain't never said nothing to me in real fucking life, sat with me, rolled with me, called me, wanted to find out why we no longer friends, and my ex's faces and all type of shit, was hiding behind other people in this group to get at me, right? So what ended up happening was, we in this group, I'm enjoying like everybody else. I'm trying to give the little girls some, like, why are you beefing with her? Like, you beefing because of a difference of opinion? Like, I'm trying to be that person. So I guess I'm just not ratchet enough. I'm not just ignorant enough, and I be questioning too much shit. Okay, I make you feel uncomfortable because I'm just sitting back like, well, no, I ain't gonna tell you what to do, but I just know I ain't gonna do it. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable, baby, I don't give a fuck, right? Sometimes you need to look around and see what people won't do. If someone ain't doing something, you shouldn't do it. That's period, point blank. You should not. You look around and everybody else is being cool and not doing, you the one crashing out. You better sit back and take heed to that. That ain't following nobody. But why am I the only one behaving like this is what you need to say to yourself. Quick story, because we're going to get back to the group, and we're going to get back to it. So I remember high school, we were graduating. So right after high school, we went to after prom. I think it was prom night. We went to this white girl's house. I think her name was, what was her name? I think her name was Michelle. Cool white girl. If I remember, her mom was mixed. I don't remember her name. I don't remember her name. But she was cool as fuck. So we go to her house, and her mom was lovely. Like, she treated us great. If I remember, her mom was like Spanish and white, and she was like adopted. Like, she was just like a really great person. I'm just talking about the things I remember. She was just like really nice. So I remember her mom went to go fix us this barbecue chicken. When I'm telling you, like, sweet as all pie. And the barbecue chicken, when we walked in through the door, they were putting the chicken in the oven, right? And putting the barbecue sauce and putting the chicken in the oven. So I didn't really get to see the prepared process when it came to this chicken. I didn't get to see it, y'all. I didn't get to see what she did. I didn't know she used some lemon water. I just figured because she was Spanish that she knew what she was doing. So I was like, we out here on faith, y'all. So I'm like, ain't no reason to, heavily look. It's chicken. It's barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauce gonna do what it's supposed to do. Even if they don't got the Lorries, don't got the Sazon. I mean, you gotta have Sazon. You spend. Even if you got all that, you got the Lorries. You don't got the. If you don't got the Lorries, you got the Sazon, and you got the black pepper. So I'm like, it can't be that bad, right? So I don't pay no mind. We went into the living room. Everybody spent the night. It was like this big old like sleepover, and we're just like watching movies, up all night talking. Everybody's talking about the future of life and da da da. So the chicken is done. The chicken is done. So we in the kitchen area, standing around the island and eating the chicken. I remember where she lived at and everything over there by them people's. Like I just remember. So we ended up eating the chicken, and if I remember, the girl who got in trouble because she stayed out all night and she wasn't supposed to. But anyway, so and then her parents rolled up. Like, we didn't know how he found out where she was at. It was really strange. But anyway, so we standing around eating the chicken. Now I'm grubbing, not thinking nothing, because I'm out here on faith. I didn't see how this chicken was prepared. Nothing. So I'm eating the chicken. But you know me, I got that third eye. So my third eye tell me look to the right. And I see my, at the time, guy best friend and his best friend standing off to the corner looking at us eat the chicken. Y'all, I don't think y'all understand. I started to look at the chicken now. Oh, shit. I was like, why they not eating? These niggas is greedy. These niggas eat everything. So this is all what I'm saying in my head. And then, I put my piece of chicken down and I went over there to the circle, because I'm usually cool with dudes. So I go over there like, what's going on? Why y'all not eating? What's going on? And y'all like the chicken? The sauce is pretty good. They was like, man, did you, that was only in there for like 20, 30 minutes. Baby, sure enough, when I turned around and looked at that chicken, it was still like, that little fatty part that be on the little drumstick. It was still wiggling, baby. Oh man. I tell y'all this story that sometimes it is very important to pay attention to what people are doing around you. And because you might need to follow suit. And follow, you just might need to follow suit. So I say all this to say, Facebook was what it was in terms of like the chat groups and the back and forth and, people finding reasons to beef with me. Like, I had pure strangers waking up at 6:00 in the morning, like that fucking bitch, like calling out my name, tagging me, wanting me to come in the group and go back and forth with them on the live so I can crash out. Now, but the thing is, like, this is just life. This is just like life. I've been trying to remember like who taught me this, but I'm pretty sure it was Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. You don't beef with strangers. You just don't beef with strangers. Like, if you ain't never had no words with that person, you ain't never passed, you don't beef with strangers, right? So I took that in the back of my head. Was like, yo, who this bitch? I don't know her. And so they were tagging me, come in here, this bitch want to confront you. I said, well, tell her, what's her name and where I know her from? Bitch didn't want to tell me her name and where she knew me from. Now, I can't come crash out with you, babe. I only crash out and argue with people I can actually, you know what I mean, that I know, right? Why am I going to go out here and pick up some unnecessary beef with a bitch I don't know? That don't make no sense, right? So, you have to be very wary of people who want to call you to the carpet, and you don't know them in real fucking life. No, I don't know you in real fucking life. And it was more than one time that shit would happen. Oh, okay, so you real spicy. Okay, well, I don't know who got you mad, but, you should let them tell me all of this shit that you getting off your chest, especially knowing that I don't know you in real fucking life. You always gotta raise your eyebrow when a nigga got more to say to you than you got to say to them. Like, what we doing? We're not going back and forth. Like, we not talking. Who sent you? Not, like, there's no way that you could say I'm paranoid. You know way too much about me. Who sent you? Even if you've seen some videos or you feel like you know me because you feel that comfortable with like approaching somebody that you don't know in real fucking life off of watching them and shit. I don't care how much I talk about these celebrities. I'm gonna see who I be going in on. Who do it? I'ma see Lizzo. I don't think I go in on Lizzo because I like Lizzo. There's other people I go the fuck in because it's not really kind of personal with everybody. But I'm gonna see a few people that I've been said some shit about. And what you think I'm gonna go up to and ask him some shit? You think I'm gonna go? You think me, a whole ass stranger, gonna go up to a nigga? No, that's not how this go in real fucking life. In real fucking life, it does not go that way. I know some of y'all are out there thinking that you could just approach people and say whatever the fuck you want. That's just not real life. And so I am most definitely not gonna do that. If I'm approached, we have a conversation, but I don't think I have the right, just because someone is a celebrity, to roll up on them and just like question them, like, because that's just weird, right? Like, they didn't sign up for an interview with my ass. So the fuck you rolling up on me with 101 questions for? And they should turn around and say that shit to anybody who thinks that they're gonna roll up on them and ask them about their real life, right? So that's just weird. So with that being said, so when I got on Clubhouse, like, I was kind of hip to like how these chats work, in terms of like people being back channels gossiping, people will confront people for other people, and you'll have people feel some sort of way. So I wasn't like, I'm not new to this, so like, I'm true to this, so I knew what the fuck it was. With that being said, how many minutes are we in right now? Oh, this is way too long. This is way too long. So like I was saying, getting on Clubhouse, I had already been through the shits, yo, for real, for real. Like, I don't even think y'all understand. Like, shit just really spiraled out of control. This was during the pandemic. I'm being exposed. My pictures in this group. I got pictures coming out of the woodwork from 20 years ago, giving their testimonial on how I was a messy ass little girl or some shit like that. Only thing I ever did to them was stop being a friend. Like, it got weird. Like, I'm on the phone with them. It's just like I'm asking them, like, so what happened? We going through it. Long story short, I am a center point in this girl's trauma of her past experience, what she thinks about her childhood. Baby, it was just deep and like unnecessary. Like, people are crazy. Like, you this is where I actually really kind of learned that people, you would think something or an experience you have with someone is so insignificant to the overall picture, and you just don't know how much like weight it holds with people, right? Like, this girl, like, I literally stopped being friends with her. We were friends, but we started being friends in second grade. By the time we got to sixth grade, we stopped being friends. I had a different set of friends in school than I did when, like, who I would play with in my neighborhood, right? And so in my town, there's like 4 elementary schools, and then you all go to one middle school. So when I went to middle school, I gravitated to the people who I was naturally friends with in school, right? And she was way different than me. She's very Pan-African, if you know what I mean, into the whole Africa aesthetics of looking, the red, green, and the black and that type of shit, natural hair, you know what I mean? Very, Pan-Africanist. Like, I know that's what her family is, right? So I'm not that. I am most definitely Black American, Southern roots, country shit type of girl, straight hair. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, we just are different in that type of ways. So when we went to the all same school, she kind of didn't fit in with who I was hanging out with. So me and her did not be, to continue to be friends like that. Baby, if I would have known 25, 26 years ago, later, somebody would be holding on to animosity and stuff like that. Because my thing is, you now, 26 years later after we're talking, what you heard about? Did you diss me, stop being my friend? Or are you upset about the fact that I dissed you, right? And so, long story short, like I told you, one night I got on the phone with her because it went there. Because, oh, so you're someone I know in real life, so you're someone I don't have a problem with addressing. And it was much ado about nothing. Much ado about nothing. I heard this and this and that, so I felt this way, based on my experience. So for her, she had an experience with me in second grade or sixth grade. And other people she knew, like, in our adult life, had an experience with me. And so for her, that was enough for her, right? So that was enough for her to think that I'm this type of person. And so she should be in the chat room 20 years later, making comments and talking about how she getting phone calls about me. Like, right, really crazy ass shit, right? So when niggas want to tell you that you don't matter, or they're not talking about you, or how they've grown in such a way in life that they don't entertain bullshit, and they're not about gossiping and talking down on people, give them the middle fucking finger, because that's where I'm at right? Because if I find out that you're talking about me on your private time while you online trying to promote some type of something that you ain't, right? Or you want to stand in my face and act like you too good, or you not on that type of level, you above that. No, your actions when I guess that person's not around gotta match what you saying out of your mouth. Right? Don't, if I'm asking you about something you said about me, if you're talking about me and I find out, and the first thing you do is start talking about, I'm just, I ain't got time for that. I just be with me and my kids. Ain't nobody got time to be. No, you do got time. You've made time for me in between you and your kids. To have my name in your mouth as a point of discussion. So don't let people try to play you off. That's just some manipulative bullshit. You on that type of time in real fucking life, and I'm on that time in real life and on the internet. Like, there's no way to say that you're more mature than me because you feel like you offline are talking your shit and you're doing very childish and behaving in very childish ass ways. No, it don't work like that. You don't make the rules on this shit, right? So let's all be childish together. You're behind my back and talking to me with strangers, and I'm in your face on the net talking about fucking you. Yeah, straight like that. Straight like that. So with that being said, when I got the Clubhouse, I was so used to this shit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. There's a reason. Like, once I started seeing that despicable behavior of people unable to have conversations and have disagreements and have a difference of opinions, and seeing how that led to you either being doxxed, you being followed around by them and their friends and associates, them feeling as if though y'all are beefing, and you're like, bitch, I don't follow you around, you follow me around. I think we got this all fucked up, right? Like, I'm not pressed about you, you pressed about me. I'm not inboxing you, you inboxing me. I'm not telling your other friends about or talking to other people about you. You're talking to me with your friends. So there's just like weirdness going on. Like, people don't know the meaning, I guess, of obsession and stalking and what that means. It's not because we fall out. And I told you it is what it is. Every time I see you, I may say some shit, but bitch, ain't nobody following you around, anybody pulling you up. We're not fake beefing. I don't like you. And if you say something stupid, I'm gonna let you know you said something stupid. Like, I don't understand. What's the problem? I understand. You already know what it is. Like, you already know what it is. But I'm not going to try to be nice or politically correct when correcting you because you try to play with a bitch. So when I got on Clubhouse and I noticed that people, this is what this video is going to be about, just really how to deal with like the people you run into with Clubhouse and how people will try to play with you when they think they know your business, right? So two stories. I got on Clubhouse, started to see it's like a really gross place, not a place you can have authentic, relationships with people. I'm not going to say that's everybody's experience. There's some people who would most definitely testify to Clubhouse being a great thing that they have grown from, learned from, build with people, and all of that exists, right? Two things can exist, right? So all of that exists, and some people have ran across that. I have not ran across that. I've ran across very disingenuous people who will go out their way to try to go back and forth with you, have a problem with you. I just haven't ran into anybody that I wanted to build community with. Because it's just such a toxic place. And some people really want to fit in so bad. Like, the cool thing may be to hate you, like meaning someone hating me because everyone else does, right? And so I want to be cool like these people who I deem cool. So we all need to now I hate her, right? Y'all are telling me this is somebody I should hate. So now I hate her because I want to be cool with you. So you have a lot of that going on. So for me, I'm just one of those people. I'll stay in the goo. I'll talk my shit in chat. I'm not cutting up on your stage. You're not muting me. You're not trying to tone police me, tell me how I should speak or any of that other shit when I don't see decorum in the room, right? Two of the biggest problems I've had with the story, one of the stories I'm going to tell you about Roger. Now, Roger, he's a white man. And it's really hard for me to explain how I figured out that he was full of shit. But let's just say, in conversation, different topics, when you hear someone do things like kind of appeal or try to promote bootstrapism when we're talking about black issues in terms of like reparation and stuff like that, when you find that people find a way to bring up bootstrapism, or you find that people find a way to kind of generally not support, let me think of not support, but have a way of framing the disparities that do exist, by totally ignoring that, but making it seem as though people are just complaining, are lazy, don't want to get jobs, and just want to have handouts or be given handouts. You'll also hear them say things like, "Oh, my family is Irish. They came from over here," or they say my family's Italian. They came from Italy, and they made it. They didn't ask for any handouts. Nobody helped them. Blah blah blah. You hear a lot of that. Those are the different like tropes that they'll try to use to kind of push back against, Black Americans feeling as if though the United States is not doing enough to help them, right? So you have to be you gotta kind of know those things and kind of really be able to listen, to hear it and pick it up. So I'll tell you that it took a lot of hours. Not going to say it took a lot of hours, but really me feeling the way I felt really came from listening to a lot of different conversations and finding that certain prejudices and certain biases would kind of creep into conversations with him. All right. So that being said, I never really want to get on his stage. I also felt like he was trying to, again, tone police behavior that in a way that was not consistent to what I had seen on Clubhouse or in rooms or in the chat with other people, right? I have a problem with that. I have no problem adhering to the decorum that is being set in the environment that I am, but at the same time, it has to be consistent, because on the other end, if it's a free-for-all and people just talking shit and it is what it is, and there's ad hominems and there's personal attacks happening in the chat, I'm going to conform to that too, and I'm going to behave in that type of way too, unapologetically. I don't make no apologies about that. But what I will not is allow mods to act like overseers and as if though they're picking and choosing on who they want to preach that decorum bullshit, right? Or try to imply there's a proper way to have conversation when that's not the vibe of what's going on in the room, right? You can't have banging in the title and then all of a sudden try to imply people who are also participating in any type form of the banging, whether in the chat on the stage, but for other people it means so much more, like, oh, you're not loved, or you're not a happy person, or you wake up angry. And it's like, well, nigga, what is you talking about? I woke up to 8 o'clock in the morning and y'all niggas had already got started, so what the fuck does that exactly mean for you? Right? So there's all these like projections of trying to make people feel as if though they're behaving in a way that is immoral, and that you have this standard, or that you're classy. I think this one wench, she said she said she's mostly classy or some shit. She said, I'm classy on the app, and some people respect it and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, aren't you the girl just telling us about your HIV scare story and sending your pussy pics and talking about the time you had the diarrhea? And like, I'm just confused on like, maybe there's another definition of classy and y'all just need to fill me in, but I'm really not sure what classy is nowadays, because it's so loosely used. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. But back to what I was talking about with Roger. So one day I'm in Roger's room and there's late night, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Roger's room and it's Roger and there's this other black man and there's this woman named, let's call her Telly. Right? So you have Roger, Telly. What is that black man, the black guy's name? I can't think of his name. Literally, to say, like, he's so insignificant to me, but I can't think of his name right now. But let's call him Dreadman. Let's call him Dreadman. So we have Telly, we have Roger, and Dreadman. So we're all in this room, and what I have come to a conclusion about Dreadman, he does not like to be shown up in any type of way or seem as though, he is not right and he's wrong, right? Like, he does not like it any type of way, or attention not to be centered around him. So I noticed this the first time I was in his room. I never went back again. You are too weak as a person. You're mad because I understood something that you didn't. And then when the conversation, it was like we were in this conversation and he didn't understand something and I understood it. And so I was trying to explain it and blah, blah, blah. And he was so put off and bothered by that. He did little weird shit like leave the room, come back. Like, it was just like weirdo, like weak boy shit. So I picked up on it. I left his room, and I never came back. And so then I seen him start to do rooms with the Telly and Roger. So I was like, okay, whatever. Let me go in and start listening. Because again, it's not about one person, right? It's about the conversation. And like, I don't know you, and it is what it is. By this time, I'm not into. This is like almost a year later. I'm not into raising my hand anymore. And going on stage because now we have the chat, so I'm comfortable in the chat. At the time when I went in his room the first time, we didn't quite have the chat then, so we got the chat now. So I'm comfortable there. Don't raise my hand, none of that shit. But if I hear something that doesn't make sense, I'll explain it and I'll tell you what it is in the chat. And some people don't even like that, right? We have people who are so egotistic that they just rather whatever they say that is incorrect be what it is because they feel like they're the mod. And it's sort of like, okay, so you rather me allow misinformation to go out because it strokes your ego, right? And you somehow feel lesser. How could you feel less of a man because you're getting correct information? Now, if I say you bitch ass nigga, this is what the answer is. Most definitely, that's disrespectful, right? But if someone is just simply providing you correct information, there's just no way you should feel like your manhood at any point in time is being challenged by that. Like, and that's really weird to me. But again, I am of the thinking that I think a lot of this has to do why we see so much violence, right? Like, the littlest things should not set you off to 10. Right? So when you hear stories of someone shooting and killing a Subway worker because they put mayonnaise on their sandwich, what? I mean, even if you sit back and think about the fact that whatever the fuck was going on in that limo that night between Tory Lanez, Meg Thee Stallion, we know what's going on because we know for a fact now. And Kelsey is that man feelings was hurt about an argument, no one putting their hands on him, that he pulled out a gun, right? And so we're waking up to gun violence and people resulting to guns, and acting as if though we don't understand, and that's now we want to point and say, oh, that's crazy behavior, right? But we don't want to point to the behavior that says, okay, so because we disagree and we generally don't agree on things, and I'm on the opposite side of you, you think that should lead to doxing? You think that should lead to you know, your feelings being hurt? Like there's just a lot of behavior that I just don't think mental health looks one way. I think people are very comfortable with thinking that they are the norm when they may be exhibiting signs of also mental health. And so that's why it's really important to be really careful of not thinking that you could sit on some type of pedestal or some type of moral high ground to assess other people, when you behave in such a way that someone can point to and be like, ooh, you sure that's all right? And I think we all have behaviors that can be pointed to and something can be called out about it, to be completely honest with you. So I'm in Roger's room that night. It's 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, Telly, Dreadman, and Roger. Long story short, I'm in the chat. There's some things that are being said. I disagree. It was nothing major. I don't think I was even in the chat that much, but I put my opinion on it. Oh, I'm sorry. There are some mods who don't like for the attention not to be totally on them. So if there's side conversation happening in the chat, the people on the stage feel shown up, what I think. And so that bothers them, and that's sick on its own, in my opinion. And so I'm like, well, when I'm on stage, I barely look in the chat, right? Like, I'm not distracted in that type of way or even bothered about like what's going on, right? So I'm not quite I don't quite understand the weird obsession to want to control the chat. I think if someone comes in a room and they don't like what's going on in the chat and people going back and forth, well, then don't get into those arguments with those people and go back and forth with them, right? You can state your opinion if your true intentions are just stating your opinion about what's going on the stage. I'm someone, if I see it in the chat, oh, they're talking about what's going on the fucking stage, right? Like, I just don't get this weirdness in society today to want to impose onto people what you deem acceptable or enjoyable for you, because the fact of the matter is, if you just want to respond in the chat about the stage, you can do that. No one's telling you to participate in a way that you don't agree with, right? Or where's the fragility has happened in society where people So you're so buttoned up and cleaned up in real life, like there's no swearing going on around you. You're so buttoned up and cleaned up in real life that like people aren't arguing or loud talking. I've known Italians to be loud talking people when they get together too. Irish people, they start the drinking. I think they the loudest. Like, I'm just trying to understand where this weird too high of expectation of civility happens in actually everyday life, not professional life. I think there's a way to behave professionally, but I'm just talking about like in real life. I just don't think that's a real thing, right? Like it's just really weird to me how all of a sudden online it's like Sunday school behavior that people expect. I don't know. That's weird. That's weird. That's hella weird to me. So I'm in this room again, Telly, Roger, and Dreadman, and all of a sudden, I noticed that this woman by the name of Millie comes in the room, and this is what I'm trying to tell you about, like being, when people try to play with you on Clubhouse, and so Millie is a disgusting person. She swears, she says she's a mixed black woman with Spanish woman. And when I first seen her, I just thought she was just Spanish. Didn't even know she was like mixed with black. But what I can tell, some Spanish people from the New York area, they do say the N word, and that's been accepted in that area for those people. I can't speak on that. It is what it is. They live amongst each other. So it's just really hard to kind of speak on that. Like, I think it's different when like, it's someone who's not in the community. That's just is what it is, right? So she's from them people's New York. So she's, say all these disgusting things. I'm in a conservative room. This is generally conservatives. These two people, the Telly and the Roger, generally conservatives. So I'm in their room, and she comes in, she says all these disgusting things about black people. They're lazy. They just want a handout. They're just angry. They want to blame white people for everything. Like, she is really riding real hard from these people. And saying some foul shit. Now, she's entitled to feel how she feels, and I'm not saying we have to share the same politic or anything like that, but I just think it's despicable when you're willing to insult your people that you say that you are. Because I do think, with some fair-skinned black people, depending on your phenotype and stuff like that and how you present, that you and I are not having the same experience due to us both being black, right? So when I know that you're socially accepted in like white circles and stuff like that, and you decide to show up on the end of insulting and disrespecting black people, that for me, you're disgusting. Like, I'm not going to I don't consider her black. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, you don't talk about black people like that. Like, I just don't, no, I don't have to. I don't know. I don't have to accept it. That's just where I'm at with it. I don't have to accept her the way she disrespects black people. So she's saying all this disgusting shit, and he, and Roger's letting it, right? So the thing is about some racists and some low-key racists and people who think they're clever enough that they're hiding that their true feelings in ideology, in deep layered intellectual conversations. And that's why I said to you guys, it's important to kind of listen to the the points that people try to make, and how when they subscribe to bootstrapism, like, you got to pay attention to those things, right? Because Roger can't say all those things Millie said, but he loves Millie, right? Like, I had been in rooms with him previously, and every time I'm in a room, he starts talking about how raw and honest she is, and nobody can hang with her. She the baddest. When a white person think they found a badass, that hardcore black person. No one can hang with her. Millie can give it up. She has a mouth on her. Like, really kind of bigging up her lack of decorum and how she shows up disgustingly, swearing and cussing and, I've been in rooms, she's called people the F word. I mean, gay people the F word, insinuated how they have mental health issues, something is wrong with them. Like, she's saying all of this stuff, but these are the same motherfuckers like the KKK, and there's a female I call KKK on the Clubhouse. When I'm in the chat and I'm talking spicy, there's all these warnings about how to behave and decorum, and don't be contentious. We want people to have a good experience. I mean, they policing and overseeing the chat more than they policing and overseeing the actual conversation happening on the stage, right? And this is why, for me, for both of them, they're full of shit to me, right? Because I'm all about fairness and consistency. If I walked in your room and I'm the one who is standing out like a sore thumb in terms of my behavior, and I'm behaving in a way that is not consistent about like what's going on in the room and everybody else, most definitely please call me out and let me know, because I'm out of pocket, I'm out of place. But that's not what's happening here. I'm meeting people where they're at unapologetically, right? And so it just seems really weird when certain people decide to, to focus on my behavior while they're letting everybody else do something around them. So this is you wanting to exude some type of control or power over me in some type of weird ass fucking way, right? So once you pick up on that, you don't associate with certain people like a KKK or a Roger, because you know they're full of shit. So the minute, I'm talking shit back to Millie in the chat because she's saying disgusting things, and I'm eating her ass up, okay? And when I tell you I'm eating her ass up, I'm eating her ass up. Okay, so, listen, I said some of the disgusting things, so I take back. No, I told her she was basura. Would change my PTR to a garbage truck on a garbage dumpster on fire. Said all of that shit. I promise you I did. I made reference to, I said she was from the Bronx. I think I told her she must have been touched and she's traumatized. What else I told her? I told her a whole bunch of other weird, like crazy shit. Like I know I did. So with that being said, she's getting mad, going off, bitch, come up here and come and say it to me. And all that. No, I'm not coming up there to crash out. You're not hearing my voice crash out, and then y'all taking recordings and playing it and splitting it up any way you want. No, I'm not doing that. No. I'm going to stay in this chat and I'm going to pop my shit, and it just is what it is. So, long story short, we going back and forth. I don't notice at the time, but Roger sends me an inbox. Remember, I told you I had been in rooms with her, and he was always talking about how she's the truth. She's his, I'm gonna say it. She's his nigga. Let's put it like that. He didn't say that. I'm saying it for him. And so, he's in my inbox talking about, oh, I think you should come up. I think you and Millie will have a great conversation. Got me all the way fucked up. Every nigga in me, you got me fucked up. Oh, so you enjoyed this level of entertainment. This is entertainment, the black people being disrespected, right? And she's saying all this disgusting shit because you can't say it, but she can say it, right? So now you want to invite me up to your stage now, right? And want me to crash out and go back and forth with her. When I tell you these motherfuckers online, it's crazy. You have to be extremely careful because people will set you up like this. Like, for real. Will set you up. No, I can't go back and forth and put on a show for you, basically, is what that man was asking for. And these weirdos like a Roger that are in every space and corner on the Clubhouse that you have to be aware of, that will try to set you up, right? I told you about the messy Mitch, kept on talking about females, trying to get me to say something about him so he could then claim that, I'm essentially a feminist that go against women because I'll talk shit about them. Yeah, that type of messy ass Mitch behavior. So for me, Roger's most definitely a messy Mitch too, right? Because the way you're exploiting and using a girl that I had just previously found out 2 weeks before, maybe he didn't know that I knew. But from what I gather, him and the Melly girl, the Telly girl, know each other really, really well. I think her name's Millie. But I call her Telly. Telly and him know each other really, really well. I had heard 2 weeks prior, we were talking about people who behave a certain way and talk a certain way and treat people a certain way. And there was this weirdo named say whatever. And he's always talking about, people need to, or projecting and all this weird shit, which I don't think he knows what projection means, but whatever. He was talking about, you never know what people are going through, and you may have to be understanding because of, their history. And then I think names came up, and I'm pretty sure that the Telly girl was mentioned. And I guess he had spent time around the Telly girl in her rooms, and he had seen how she behaved. And this is why I tell you, people make excuses for who they want, right? So don't take niggas trying to tell you, or people try to tell you, correct you, too personal. Because a lot of times they're just full of shit themselves. So when he's in Telly's room And from what I hear, she's in there cursing up a storm. She's in there suicidal. She's in there disrespecting people. She's in there doing all of that, right? Going up through the up and downs of her, mental illness. And I found it really interesting that he liked her though, right? But for him, it was good enough that she can just claim mental health for her behavior. So what I do remember saying to him is that, well, if I don't meet you tonight, or if I don't have this conversation with you tonight in this room, I never know about Millie's behavior or her mental health issues. I then say, and with not knowing about her mental health issues, alleged mental health issues, is that I'm just going to be running across her. And there's just no way you play with somebody like that and you give them a pass, because we literally would be out here saying, oh, everybody has a mental health issue, right? There'll be no true accountability or people being called out for their behavior, because we'll just be assuming, oh, something's wrong with them, right? I have no idea where or what you guys are reading that says that someone who suffers from this and this and that, that it may mean, or it's an indicator that they're going to be disrespectful, vile, angry, violent, or any of that. Like, that's not what that means, right? So it's just really weird that people just automatically loop mental health or depression to certain behaviors, and that's just not a thing. There are people who suffer every day with mental health, and they are not out here stabbing, they're not out here disrespected, and not out here behaving like a telly. You know what I mean? So it's just weird that we want to give some people a pass, and it's just not right, right? So I told him that. Cool, glad to know, what I knew about her. Was never trying to be in her spaces or be in her company or even have a conversation with her. So being in a room with Roger and seeing how how okay he was with with using this girl who clearly has mental health, right? Because again, he bragged about how she's the toughest. He wanted me to come up there and argue with her. Anybody who tried to, talk shit to her, he would kick them out the room and say, don't talk to her like that after she's disrespected them, right? So for him, this is a sick, show, right? I don't know. I wanted to share that with you guys. Just don't let people play with you on this internet. I think the other thing that happened this week, so I was in a couple rooms this week, right? And they kept on bringing up the other thing about the Clubhouse and Facebook is that you have to be aware that people will feel like they know something about you. And when you messing with niggas and being around niggas, and they feel like they got your tea, they feel like they can play with you and troll you and all that different stuff and try to throw things out there that are, related to you, but they ain't gonna put no address on it. They're not gonna say what it is. They just want you to know that they think they know something about you. And one of the things I found this week that kept coming up, and I have to be aware of the fact that, I've seen people from that group on Facebook on the Clubhouse. I've seen them be around certain people and see how their attitude and how they have too much negative energy towards me, and because we have not had enough interactions for that to be there, right? So once I see that, I know what the fuck it is. I know that you probably feel like you know something about me. And so one of the things, like in the rooms this week, I kept on hearing somebody talk about PTSD. And I was like, oh, okay, I hear that, because I know, who may know and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm really comfortable with anything that has gone on in my life because I'm honest, right? I've not behaved or done things in my life that I am ashamed of, right? When you know that you are the truth, when you know you can stand on every fucking thing that you did, you said, and whatever, there's just some things that I'm just not ashamed. So, yeah, and that's just where I'm at with that. Like, when there are people out there who are lying, who rather use other people to get at me because they know they could never stand in front of my face and stand 10 toes down on the shit that they're saying, right? And that I'm going to stand on all mine, baby. I'm going to stand on it all, baby. So I think when people are hiding from their truth, trying to stay in closets from their truth, there's just no way that they can ever be out in the front and confront me. And so I think you crash dummies need to just mind your fucking business. But let's get back to what I was hearing. So I kept hearing PTSD being brought up, and I'm not ashamed of my PTSD. What kills me is that people who try to associate my PTSD with a nigga in terms of I've been hurt so bad by a nigga that I'm what afraid of all niggas, like meaning men. I'm gonna say men, that I'm afraid of all men, or my past experience with a man has made me bitter to all men, right? So, no. And that sucks, and that pisses me off so fucking bad, because the nigga that y'all are referencing, I've never been alone with. I would never tell you he promised me anything. I'm never in any delusion of being in any type of relationship with this person. I've never felt it, never touched it. Like I don't even understand. Like I'm so disgusted by anybody trying to associate with my PTSD with feelings for a man. And that is fucking crazy to me. Because what feelings will we be talking about? I've never told anybody I wanted to be with this man. This shit is crazy to me. Whatever was going to be between me and him was always going to be a conversation between me and him. What people did hear was me angry as fuck about this nigga lying, and having people think I did things that I didn't do, which caused them, the friend, homegirl, only person I know I was talking to about this nigga, because she told me shit about him too. So we were confiding in each other. She talked shit about things that she had seen online or things that she knew about him. I think she had told me the story about a cousin. Was it a cousin? It was her cousin's aunt, and how he used to fuck with the cousin's aunt, and allegedly he put a dick sucking video of her out on the Facebook and stuff like that. Now I tell y'all to tell you this. So she already knew how this nigga got down and what he was about. So somehow, some way, he's being posted on the deadbeat directory, and all his friends and people associated with him, the girlfriend at the time, who I don't know. All this stuff is being posted about these people who I don't know. All of a sudden, I'm getting blamed and being told that it's me. I'm having people approach me at clubs. I'm having people, kind of really looking at me side-eye because information travels. I'm getting weird looks everywhere I go, because people think I posted these strangers. One time I'm at the club, girl approaches me. I'm thinking she's flirting or she liked me or something. She thinking I'm the person talking about her on some website. And I'm like, girl. And she was like, well, he told me this and blah, blah, blah. Like, just really crazy, crazy shit. Long story short, at one point in time, I'm on the phone with this girl. She keeps asking me about this page, the deadbeat directory. At the time, I didn't go on there for a long time. So I finally go on there and see what it is. I took pictures of all that shit, y'all. All of that shit that they were saying on there. Because a lot of it would end up being true. No, I'm saying all of it ended up being true. So I took pictures of it, blah, 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 because I don't know what, I promise you, when they say that there's something told me you'll need this. And so I took all these pictures and stuff like that. But also because when someone's lying on you, it is very important to have receipts. And so that's why I tell you motherfuckers, I'm so receipted up. I don't lose sleep behind anything I fucking say, on this mic. So long story short, all these people thought I did something. At one point in time, I get into a conversation with him. He says, you don't think she gets drunk, talking about my homegirl, my cousin. I was calling her my cousin. At the time, gets drunk and tell me what you say, right? On top of she playing a role in that, because she would sit next to me and act like she don't know why all these people hate me. She don't know why I'm experiencing these things that I'm experiencing, even though she's coming back and telling me information, right? Down to, the first baby mama that he denies and all this other stuff, and how much he actually owes in court in terms of child support. Like, she's the one providing all of this fucking information. So she's sitting there acting like she don't know what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And so, I'm trying to think about what else happened. On top of her doing that, you have him going online telling people the same type of thing. Like at one point in time, he's telling people that he told somebody I had something to do or knew something about his best friend who got killed, his baby mother calling me and inboxing me. What else did he tell people? He told a whole chat. I mean, he went live and he used to get a lot of views. I'm talking about thousands of views on his live, y'all. He's telling people how I have something to do with he had beat up his ex-girlfriend outside of a bar, and everybody is protecting him for what he did. He gonna tell everybody in the city that I'm the one that is falsely accusing him of touching me, and that I am just trying to cause him problems at his job. This is what he came up with, right? He says this on a live. I'm sitting there watching the live, and I'm sitting there watching people say, "Oh, bro, yo, what's her name?" Put my full name out there. It's on site. It's on site. It's on site. When I see her, bro, another stranger who wants to put their hands on me, right? All right. He goes even as far as to one night at the club, at the bar, because my brother had a night there too, of trying to convince the police that it was me filing this police report, knowing damn well he had beat this girl up outside. Like, it happened, right? I got a call that night, but I wasn't even there. It happened. He beat this girl up. She had a little, like a miniature baseball bat. He took it from her and he beat her up. What led to her being beaten up was they must have broke up or something, and she was dancing with another man or something like that, or his feelings was hurt. Basically, his feelings was hurt, right? Because we're talking about black men unable to have their feelings hurt. Long story short, he feels as if though if he likes you at any point in time, you can't come around here, club around him, being in the same place with him. He can't handle it, right? That type of crazy. So, I'm not there. So when the girl goes and files a police report, he's trying to convince the police when they come to the bar that it's me, right? So I'm just food. Just throw me in any fucking thing. Blame any fucking thing on me, right? Don't give a fuck about her. So he tells the police that it's me causing her around, stalking him or trying to, make his life a living hell. Boom. My brother says, because my brother knows, like, I wasn't there. And my brother's not going to, like, nigga, you're not standing in front of me and would have hit my sister. Like, that's not what happened. So my brother says, yo, me and my sister has the same last name because he can't give out the victim's name. And my brother tells him what our last name is, and the police officer says, no, that's not who's filed this report. Long story short, if you can listen to all of that and not quite understand what my PTSD is about, it's not about no nigga. It's about being around janky ass bitches who set you up, right? And seeing the craziness how far someone will go for attention from a nigga, right? So, yeah, that's what the PTSD about. Trusting somebody, or feeling as if though someone was just like literally asking me questions and trying to. I'm thinking this is a person that, again, she's confided in me. I've confided in her. I don't give a fuck with you females out there who want to talk about being bigger and better and talking about you need to be talking about getting money and, what's the future, blah, 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 blah. You don't talk that way with all your girlfriends. And when I met this bitch, she was sitting at the bar, drunk as a skunk. Family left her down there stinking. Nobody was trying to help and come around her. Nobody was hanging out with her. Right? Don't watch the news. So you meet people where they're at in terms of like what their conversation is. And if niggas want to post shit on the Facebook or be in chat groups and putting all their business out, why again, what can't it be talked about? Like, what exactly are you putting your business out there on the online for? Right? What I have learned through this whole situation, just people, you can't please people. Like, either I'm the type of person, I don't even really want to talk to you about you and your personal relationship with your man, because I find that also puts like a lot of strain on friendships, right? Where I should be telling you to leave that nigga, but I can't keep telling you to leave that nigga, because then you gonna get mad at me for telling you to leave your nigga, and then all of a sudden I'm jealous and I'm hating, I'm bitter and I'm angry, and I don't want you to be with a man. Like all types of weird shit starts to come on. So I like to keep. Let's talk about the news. Let's talk about these social issues. Let's talk about these celebrities. Let's talk about anything except what you got going on with that nigga who is beating you upside your head. Oh, your boyfriend's a pimp and you his girlfriend. That's what you think. This is okay. Well, girl, I wish y'all the best. Like what? I don't know what to say to some of that shit, so I don't want to talk about that shit. Let's talk about some fake believe, make believe shit on the line. That's what I'm about. But like I said, there's different conversations with different people, right? Because there's some friends I've never gossiped with. Like we've always, like, you know, it's been just fun and just, you know, it is what it is. But I'm not apologizing. I'm not sitting up here and thinking that there's anything wrong, because I just don't know who is not getting with their good girlfriends and talking. I just don't. Like, even when I sit and listen to my aunts on the phone, I just don't know. Like, I just don't know. Like, even when I sit and listen on Clubhouse and some of y'all are good girlfriends, y'all are sitting here talking about people. Like, I'm confused. Y'all talking about things like, girl, can you believe? Like, it's a part of, it is what it is. I think it's crazy when people out here talking to, like, running their mouth, like, in public about people and stuff like that. I think that's really trashy ass behavior. But if you supposed to be my homie and we talking to just each other, that's, I'm not going to sit up here and think that's running my mouth. I'm just not. Sorry. I'm just not. I'm just not. Now, seeing people, I think spreading people's business is running your mouth. But, like, if it's something to do with me, you bring up some shit that has something to do with me, and I decide to talk about it, that just is what the fuck it is. Like, that's my business, right? Especially if it has something to do with me. Especially if it has to do with a nigga lying on me, right? Yeah, that's my business. Oh, you gonna put me at a place I wasn't even at the night of an incident? Well, that's our business. Now I got to go to the courthouse and find out what happened. Sure did. Since I'm supposed to have been there and you talking to the police about me, I sure motherfucking did. What is you talking about? Like, y'all niggas is weird. Again, that's what the PTSD is about. Again, I don't know. I think it's never over nigga. But just literally someone just, you know, like I said, I had random people wanting to fight me, looking at me like as if though I did something to them. That's what it's about. Janky ass bitches. So I don't know. Do what you want with that. Yeah, but that's it. You ain't gonna trouble me with my shit. I'm comfortable. Baby, I'm comfortable. Y'all be bougie as F. Y'all be black as F. Y'all be posh as F. Y'all be blessed as F. And y'all be black, y'all. And I'm